Yeah, it's running.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Part number 2 with the Aussies, Jordan Davis, Ryan Blue Bowen, and just taking a little bit of caffeine in is the lean machine, Tom Holland. Now that's because in the UK it's got to be pushing 11 o'clock at night, whereas in Australia it's stupid o'clock in the morning. If you tuned in to show number 1, you will know that we were talking about tall people with zero body fat and how strong they can be. And I wanted to also just pick up a point here, guys. If Jordan Davis goes to middleweight, another tantalising match there has got to be the Steel Giraffe.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
yes,
come on.
Jordan, we can't hear you, Jordan.
Oh, we've lost him again. A few technical penalties. There we go. There, you're back.
Yeah. All right. Now, that is when you'll see me hook, guys. You put me against the Steel Giraffe. I might admit that I can't hook. I would not top roll him.
Well, it's interesting because when the point Ryan made is what me got me thinking about that. When you were saying that sort of, you're used to being the guy with the longer lever, that would be a real test.
Yeah.
Because both men with that very long lever, very long hand, and I think from what I can gather, if you let your weight go, you're going to be pretty similar in weight, Jordan. Because I think Nicholas knocks around the 86 kilo mark. He's never been a big middleweight, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Is that a guy you've ever come across at any of the events? Have you had a play around with Nicholas on a practice table at all?
I haven't. I've wanted to many times at WAL. I was hoping that 2017 I'd get to group up with him and at Zloty as well, but he wasn't at the practice table by the time we finished up at Zloty, so missed out, unfortunately.
Now, another Swede that I know you didn't miss out on was Jean-Claude Van Berg. Because, now...
Oh, that's definitely one that we can talk about.
Talk to me about Patrick Berg, mate. Talk to me about Patrick Berg.
He really is, he takes his experience and puts it on the table every time he arm wrestles, and you can feel that. I felt like I was in for the win, and he just he used that lovely elbow foul that you get, and got the restart, and then I elbow fouled when I felt in control again, and in the third one he took me out on my shoulder, and when I went to try and defend, I got called for I got warned for pushing him off. Like if you push him off, it's going to be a foul. But I was just trying to come forward and defend my shoulder a little bit more, and I didn't want to, foul out against him in the match. So I thought I'll try and stick it out, and he just kept driving and and got through. So he's relentless, that's for sure. And I know that Tom Holland can pipe in here and be very much the same.
Patrick, when he dedicates to an attack, that's it. Like he's not letting off it. He'll carry on till the end. You don't give up. He's horrible. He's nasty. He's no, I don't like pulling him at all. We have some good matches all the time, but he's just one of them guys I hate pulling. I love him though.
Yeah, such a nice.
If that match had been a running foul situation, Jordan wins that match. He had the first 2 rounds utterly secured, taken Patrick's wrist and had the shoulder line secured. It was just going to be 3 seconds before the pin was going to happen. Patrick raised his elbow for the restart. Jordan did an accidental bobble whilst going for the kill on the second one, and then Patrick legitimately won the third. So that match there, and that was the winner of that went into the A-draw final of the Zloty undefeated. So that it was a big moment, really big moment for both guys there, and Patrick got the goods on the day. But it's a match that Jordan had it. Jordan absolutely done everything bar get called for the win. Like there wasn't anything else left to do.
Mm-hmm. And Tom, you've pulled Patrick how many times now, mate?
Well, like 3. I pulled him twice in the qualifiers for WAL. and I pulled him in Arm Wars in Germany at the FIBO.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the super match in at the FIBO Power.
Yeah, done him on right. I beat him on right arm 4-2. I lost on the left arm 5-1. 4-2, something like that. It's always been really close. His left felt really strong that day, but I think he was a bit heavier as well.
Yeah.
I think I was weighing about 77 that day. He was like nearly mid-80s. So, no, it'd be good to pull him again, especially now the right arm's all completely healed.
How is the right arm now, Tom? So, first of all, mate, just tell people what happened with your right arm. Oh, breaking up a bit, brother.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you again, mate. Yeah, I was just saying, Tom, can you just tell people what happened with your right arm? What was the damage that you suffered on that right arm? This happens a lot on Pornhub.
Low-mo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks better than that when it happened.
It was the 10. What it was, I had to strap with Armwrestlers.
Oh, we've lost you. It's like arm crossfire.
Whilst we wait for the Wi-Fi to come good on Tom, Jordan, question for Jordan and Tom, and hopefully I want to hear Tom's response on this. But flat out, how would the match go? You two, in your own eyes, how does it go?
Oh, me.
Oh, yep, you're back now, mate. You can go.
Yeah, talk about timing.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it to us. How's the match go?
What, out of 5 or out of 6?
Best out of 5. Like, what's the shape?
5-0. 5-0 easy.
Oh, mate, I'm that good, but I won't. I'll give you one.
Nah.
No, just arm wrestling. You gotta watch these Aussie lads. Sharing a room together a lot.
In terms of the shape of the match, though, not so much the score, but how does each round go? Like, especially the first grip up. What are you forcing the hook? Are you trying to just hang with your wrist? What are you doing?
You can't even say until I actually grip up with him. He's got such a long lever, you got quite big hands as well, ain't you? For your weight size. I've got no idea how that's going to feel. I don't know if his top roll from the wrist is going to feel too strong to hook pronate in, supinate in. Sorry. Because of the injury, I've been working a lot on top roll the last few months, and that's starting to feel really, really good now, especially a lot of hand control. I'd probably be more likely to try and top roll, to just take control of the hand and bring it to my side of the table rather than trying to scoop inside. Be a bit risky with them levers. I'll try to force it. I don't know how hand and wristed as well. So
I can honestly say that I love when people top roll. So you can jump on a top roll, and we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah,
he's a tall top roller. Like I can't top roll against Jordan. It's like a suicide friggin' match for me. If I attempt to top roll, it's just over. I need a strap against Jordan. I can't out of straps. I can't do anything but slip. Thankfully, he still can't stop me from slipping. But outside of straps, if I try to hold on, he rolls me. If I try to top roll, he buckles my wrist. But you have the height. You have a longer arm than me, Tom. So, and you are a specialist at reaching across and setting a hook. So that's why I actually think that you would have more success in setting a hook against Jordan than I do. And it would. I just feel like if you were trying to set a hook, there'd be a very nice balance point between traditional hook and traditional top roll, and we'd actually get a really classic battle potentially happen.
Well, I agree with you there. The thing as well, like especially if it does come into the strap, at the minute on the right arm, it all depends how the strap is. It's actually worse for me if it's a bit loose. At the minute, to be honest, if I can get the strap really tight so there's no gap between the wrist, feel really, really good. I just don't feel like my wrist can go back if I get it so tight on the wrist.
I guess, Tom, the risk for you, if you go all in on setting a hook, is that Jordan ends up in a high hook and you end up in a low hook because you were expecting an all-out top roll and he just ends up climbing over your rotation, and you're normally the one that's over someone's rotation. So that's what this match for me is just like there's so many ways that it could play out, and I think we would see so much technical diversity because both you guys are technical pullers. Like, I just think it'd be spectacular.
Yeah,
I respect, Tom's hook to the level that I know that in the first one, the first round that we get strapped, I wouldn't be hitting to hit the pad because I think that would end up in me being set in the hook. I'd probably set to secure my pronation back into my own chest first and then test to see where your wrist goes rather than, just going for it, because I think that supination would slap me under without me, realizing.
That's what I feel like I've been doing wrong as well the last year or so, couple of years. When I've been wrestling, especially in super matches, I've just been focusing on attacking. I'm not focusing on getting to position and just waiting out. That's what I used to do. I'm usually really, really technical, just trying to get to position, weaken the opponent. Lately, I've just been quite stubborn, just trying to go for the attack. Backfires a lot. Just got to be more patient in the matching.
Yeah. Be more in the moment, like in your Giannis match.
Yeah.
Taking note of, what he's about to do to change the situation.
Yeah. Well, even with that match as well, no excuse or anything, Giannis was a lot stronger than me. I made mistakes in that he was on the ball that day as well. Main thing I've done was I just went forward. I was just going for pure deep inside. As soon as I got in there, trying to go straight down pressure. Weren't really caring about being on his side of the table, but I probably should have thought that a bit more. Just willingly going over that side. I felt good when I was in there, but there's just no pulling it back. I felt good, but then I was stuck. As you see, as soon as you got that shoulder press in, he's just ridiculous with that strength.
It also looked like, Tom, you had a point there you could have finished, but you were trying to put a bit of bleed on to level it up for the next rounds, and you didn't expect the shoulder to come.
Yeah, it was on that second match. I was actually telling I've got it inside. I was looking at it. I was actually saying, go on and get out of that. Go on, roll that wrist out. He couldn't do it, so that's why I was thinking, yeah, I've got this now. And it's overconfidence in it. You can't be waiting around too long, especially with someone like Giannis.
Yeah, he's a master arm wrestler.
Yeah.
And he's very diverse. And got better arm strength than he's given credit for.
Yeah.
As you two guys will know inside out, because you both are, the point we started the call with was there are skinny guys that are really, really strong. And I mean strong. I don't mean just leverage. That's the thing. Skinny guys that are Kevin Bongard was a great example. You two were a good example. Nanastad's a good example, and there are others. The most powerful pound for pound hook puller before any of your time, really, that I've ever seen. And I was on a call yesterday with Engin Terzi, John and Devon, and the next time I'm on that call with those guys, I think we might have lost your sound again, actually, Jordan. But the next time I'm on that call, I'll get Engin to talk about this guy, because we're going to be discussing the best of arm wrestlers that have existed through a lot of these events. There was a Russian arm wrestler. I think he's from the Ascension region of Russia. His name was Gennady Fadzinov. And let me tell you now, that kid was ridiculous in a hook, and he looked like you've never seen any. He was so, there's a lot of arm wrestlers out there who, even when they're slim, look heavily muscled. They look like they're ripped to the bone, slim. But Tom's a good example of that, because he's very, very sinewy and ripped. Kevin Bongard was the same. Gennady Fadzinov didn't look like that. He looked almost quite nearer to Jordan, in some respects. Just swarthy looking, dark featured guy. No particular muscle mass on him at all. Always sort of accentuated that by having baggy clothes on, so he looked like nothing. And he would hit the hook with guys like a young Semerenko. When Alexei Semerenko was in the 75s and 80 kilo class, he'd hit deep hooks with those guys. Guys like Kurt Niazi of Turkey, the Wolf. And he'd hang with them in the hook and he'd boss them. I never, ever saw that man lose a hook match. Ever. He was Danny Tesh-esque.
I was about to say, glad he didn't beat Danny Tesh. It would have been an immovable object and an unbreakable force or whatever.
would be unbelievable. I'm not going to disrespect Danny Tesh and say that anybody could actually beat the Tesh, but he could have made him sweat. Let's just say that. But yeah, Gennady Fadzinov, look him up. And for those of you who don't know, check out Danny Tesh. Working miracles, winning matches, taking risks, taking names.
No, we take his risks and he takes our names.
What's going on with him? Can you not talk him back into coming back? You can't let Tesh fade away.
I haven't seen him for 7 months.
He is
disappeared.
He is very hard, man. I'll tell you, the standard is he has every single cell phone blocked except his mum and dad and his wife. And that's not just recent. That's been Danny always. Danny doesn't communicate with people, with the world. He's a lovely guy, but he's a very, very private guy, and it's hard to know what Danny's doing. I'm told.
How did Wal ever get hold of him? How did World Armwrestling League get hold of him? I mean, what did he do? Like Batman, put like a just. Yeah.
I think that all of Australia is so impressed with Danny that we just talk about Danny so often that Wal inevitably heard about Danny through us. He did go to the 2017 non-event that happened, and he surprised everyone. I mean, I wasn't there, but I remember watching and hearing on the live stream people saying, "Who is this? Who is this guy?" He didn't win the tournament. Jordan? He finished 3rd on left and 5th on right, or something like that.
He set the tone early though, didn't he, Ryan? Because he got a win. Yeah. At that time, I think Talbot was roaring on the left, and he cracked Talbot early doors.
Yeah. He beat Talbot in a hook.
Yeah.
Talbot ended up coming back and top rolling Danny in the later matches. But round 1, it was opening round, Tesh and Talbot, and it went into a hook. And Talbot thought, okay, I'll just sit here and hold. And no one out holds Danny, and Danny just ended up pressing Talbot. I think Danny lost to Todd Hutchins, where Todd just went for the slam dunk. On right, he beat.
Danny missed the goal then.
Danny beat Paul. Was it Paul Maiden? I think he beat your man Paul Maiden.
Yeah. Paul took a loss to Danny. Jumped all over his hand and wrist, couldn't finish him.
Yep. And he had a screamer with Katowski that time too, and won that. He got the contract on Frode.
Yeah, Frode was interesting because I don't think there was a pin there. Personally, I'm watching that. That's a match we got to see again. That's got to happen. So, I mean, that's maybe the greatest match of all time waiting to happen right there.
Yeah. So as for where Danny is, I can't possibly believe that Danny is losing his strength, even though he's not actively on the table right now. He is cut from a different genetic cloth than any other arm wrestler I've met. And I'm sure that if he's just maintaining some degree of strength, which he would, that he can come back when he comes back. And he went through bankruptcy with his business and all that sort of stuff, so a lot of life stress. So it's understandable why he's taking a break. But if he comes back, you can be certain that he will never come back ill prepared. He'll come back. He'll come back with the intent of taking the title off me again here in Australia, and showing that he never lost the thing. So yeah, I hope he does come back. There's a few people in Australia that do see him regularly. Phil Rasmussen, our president of the Arm Wrestling Federation, sees him once a fortnight kind of thing. He's still strong, is what we're told.
Yeah, it's it could get interesting, couldn't it, when you think about this, because you've got a situation when it's like when Tom came up to the lightweights in the UK and Craig Sanders was so dominant in there, and suddenly everybody could see that collision course. It's going to be similar in Australia, particularly if Jordan goes to middleweight as well, because then you've got yourself, Jordan, Danny. They're the three big. They would be the three big hitters in the middleweight class, then, wouldn't they? Really.
That was the clash of 2016.
and that would be all from Brisbane. Yeah. And all in the middleweight division.
Honestly, there's no one else in the middleweight division in Australia that comes close to that three. On right. Yeah, on left, no one goes near Danny on left in Australia. No one. Jordan and I aren't near Danny on left. But on right, that three is like a death triangle for anyone else in Australia. We can't touch it. So, yeah.
How's that going to be, guys, from your perspective personally? If you go into the middleweights, I mean, obviously, I know from our private conversations, Ryan, that on our broadcast on YouTube, that you've obviously, I'm only joking, mate. You've told everybody that listen. You're obviously concerned about Jordan's potential as a middleweight. If he put weight on, you'd think he'd be scary. Yeah,
Jordan, like I said, for me, he knows my game so well, and he's got a tool set that I struggle to deal with. And when Jordan's power level is appropriately at the similar level of mine, historically he's kicked my ass when we've been the same side. So I remember that, and I know that well. And I one of the reasons why I started to learn to pull like Todd Hutchins, we talked about it before, that your opponents shape the way you train. I started to learn to pull like Todd Hutchins because I recognized that I can't do anything with Jordan's hand. He can dictate wherever he can tell me where my hand's going to be. If he wants to top roll me, he will. If he wants to force me into a hook, he will. I've just got to be prepared to go sideways harder and faster than he can handle and let my wrists go wherever the hell he puts it. So that's one of the reasons why I started to learn to pull like Todd Hutchins, was simply because of Jordan. So when Jordan's the same weight as me, I expect me to hit like Todd, him to either not catch it or catch it a couple of inches off the pad and then start to put me in a horrible squeeze. Once the match stops with Jordan, I lose. And Jordan is someone that can do that to Danny too. Jordan is someone rare that can actually stop Danny and make Danny panic and make Danny feel the need to pin. Jordan and Danny faced in 2016, and it was only because Jordan's shoulder went mid match that Danny got the win. There was a genuine stop, and Danny couldn't pin him. Danny was trying to press, and couldn't get through.
And you've worked with Jordan since he was a kid. You trained him from a youngster in this respect, didn't you?
Yeah. I the first 4 years or whatever was of Jordan's foundation was under myself, and Jordan was weak as anything. He was the weakest human I've ever seen start arm wrestling.
Jordan, did he ever, when you went round to his house for training?
Yeah.
Did you ever suspect that he was trying to keep your weight down when, on lads' night, the snacks wasn't crisp? It was like celery and radish.
Mate, I actually got fed pretty well. I got some roast dinners out of coming around and training because quite often we wouldn't have anyone else to really train with. So Ryan was quite thankful, and I got a couple of good roast dinners. But I never fed myself really because I was a poor old uni student at the time, and I basically ate more at Ryan's house than I did at my own house.
See, it's a shame Tom doesn't live closer to me. Well, I've had to employ tactics when we've ever been on events to keep him in the lightweight division. I'll always make sure that if we go on a night out after the competition finishes and we walk past the kebab house, I cover his eyes. Just to make sure that, he doesn't need that kind of temptation, doesn't need to come up in weight class.
Point out Sonic across the street.
We'll have a sip of water if I'm lucky.
Tom, do you and this for both of you again, do you guys see yourselves 10 years from now being 100-kilo pullers? And this is the reason why I put the video out there saying, is Jordan Davis the next Devin Larratt? Because I believe he has the frame and the style and the sinew and the elbow and the hand shape and size that if he is 100 kilos, he wrecks everyone in Australia and does it Devon Larratt style. Are you the same, Tom? Do you see yourself as a 100-kilo puller someday?
Yeah, hopefully. I don't want to stay light all my life, but I don't want to just force it on as well. Just let it go. Just let it build on naturally. I do. Honestly, next year I want to be hovering about 85, 90 kilo by next year.
Perfect.
Have you ever been that heavy, Tom?
Sorry?
Have you ever been that heavy?
I've got to like 84. That's just after eating about 4 kilos of food. So I don't count really. Now, heaviest I've walked about is about 83. Been walking about that.
I can tell you when you get to the mid-90s, you feel healthy. Like my experience, like being at the late 80s, cutting into the 70s. Once you get into that 90 range at our height, like my shoulders and probably your elbow will feel like you've got a little bit more, mass around it, and you feel more comfortable in the weight, regardless of what people say that you're facing stronger guys and stuff like that. Whilst you're still pulling them now, it feels a hell of a lot more comfortable when you get to their weight too.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I've done both weight categories. I've been a lightweight and tried
Nearly
to battle with the demons of thinking, should I stay a lightweight because I'm going to be more competitive? I have been just as competitive at middleweight as I ever was at lightweight, for sure. So, for me, there's no hesitation in recommending to you guys that I think you'd both do just as well in the middleweight. To be honest, once you're genuinely there with your body, I would never expect you guys to struggle at all.
I think there's a cap on that when you get up to the kind of weights you were talking about. When you start looking at the 100 kilo and slightly above, then it would be problematic unless you are really, really strong, because the leverage advantages then don't exist anymore. Yeah. You've got your guys that are the lead 100 kilo. You've got to remember the Latin, and you've met Vitalia. You know how big that dude is. That's a big mother. Yeah, you won't want him under your bed. Now that guy is 100 kilo arm wrestler only 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. And you look at Jordan and you look at Tom, and they're tall, rangy guys, but not when they're stood next to Devon Larratt, not when they're stood next to Vitalia Latin. That's the kind of guy that you do encounter when Dimitri Trubin, another one that was 100 kilo arm wrestler.
It's a 10-year journey to be a 100 kilo arm wrestler for you guys, I think. But if you let it happen over 10 years, you're ready at 10. At 10 years, you're well and truly ready to bang at 100 kilos because you'll have that mass. So, yeah.
Well, they're going to get bigger anyway, Ryan. Let's be honest. I mean, just with age, you're going to get bigger. You will thicken out. Everything will get denser. You will put weight on naturally. Neil,
I'm just going to give you the final salute. I'm on 1%. Gents, it's been a pleasure.
It has been. Your timing's impeccable because we're out of time anyway. Guys, I'm sure we'll have this collection back on very, very soon anyway, but we hope you enjoy the show. Jordan, Ryan, Tom, thanks for the time, guys. I'm going to let you guys get on with your day and let Tom go and do whatever he does late at night with the way he looks. Christ knows what that could be. Rob a car. I mean, I'm not
early night.
Better chuck that hood on, mate.
Scary, isn't he? It's a bit sinister, Tom. Love him, but you know what I mean. There it is. Guys, if you like what you see, please like, subscribe, share, tell everybody about it. We're building, we're finding our feet, but we're getting some good guys on. We also had these guys on, but we do now and again get some good guests on. Fellas, joking aside, thanks for your time, and we'll have you on again soon. Take it easy.
Cheers, guys.